Welcome to those who are entering into the seminar. Our virtual seminar will be starting in just a few minutes. Enjoy the music, and we'll start in about 2 minutes. Make sure you have something to write with and a piece of paper, and your phone is on silent. Everybody's enjoying the music. We're going to start in another minute. This is some of my favorite music from the island of Kauai. Okay. All right. Let me shut off our music here and we'll go ahead and get started. See, people are just starting to come in to the presentation. All right. Excellent. Welcome to How to Succeed as a Certified Office Ergonomics Specialist in the Age of COVID-19. Let me do just a brief video and sound check with you before we get started. I am going to monitor the chat quite a bit as best I can. So I want you to type in if you can see and hear me okay. Is my sound good? You can see the screen presented by Alison Heller-Ono, How to Succeed as a Certified Office Ergonomics Specialist in the Age of COVID-19. Everyone can see that. All good? Excellent. All right, so while you're typing in the chat, just say hello. Tell me where you're from. I'd love to know where you're from. This is one of the wonderful parts about being online and in a virtual seminar is that you can come from all over the country and don't have to leave your couch or your office or wherever you're working right now. So I see Mary Beth is from San Jose, Randy's in Livermore, California, Stanley, you're in Cupertino, Jamie, you're in Wyoming, one of my favorite places. Okay, Selena, you're in Singapore. Oh, yay, international, wonderful. Hello from Charles at the Bay Area and Robin in Lodi and Mikai in Dallas. Fantastic. Norma, thank you for signing in from Santa Clara, and Lisa from Union City, Deidre in the Santa Cruz Mountains, and Candace down in Newport Beach. Oh, that's fantastic, you guys. Keep it coming in. Corey, you're in Charlottesville, Virginia. That is fantastic. Oh, wonderful. Smita, thanks for joining us from Sunnyvale, California. Oh, what a pleasure to have all of you here. Thank you so much for your interest in office ergonomics and my upcoming presentation here today, How to Succeed as a Certified Office Ergonomics Specialist in the Age of COVID-19. Now, as I said, I'll be presenting and managing the program as best I can today, so bear with me. And also, as a disclaimer, Worksite International has no affiliations to any university programs. We're a private for-profit business, and the opinions expressed here are my own. Okay? All right, so thank you all for coming today. In this virtual seminar, I'll be covering why there's never been a better time to study ergonomics and become certified as a practitioner. We'll talk about how ergonomics is essential to all organizations in the age of COVID-19 and beyond, and why I'm in the best position to teach you. The specific evaluation methods, tools, and systems you should be using to assess employees on site and remotely, And I'll share with you some success stories from people who are getting results for their employers and themselves. And then I'm going to talk about the Train the Ergonomics Evaluator Masterclass. I imagine that many of you are here for that today. And then we'll open for questions and discussion at the end. So we might go past 60 minutes, so feel free to log off if you need to go. There will be a replay posted in the next day or so. I'll stay on as long as there are questions. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Now, I want to take a quick poll. I want to know what your current role is, so I want you to select more than one response. Okay, I'm going to launch the poll right now. What is your current role as of today? Select as many as apply to you. So go ahead and chime in on this quick survey about what your current role is. We'll have it run for about a minute. Okay. As we're getting the answers, so I've asked you if you're unemployed or furloughed right now, or if you're working part or full time, if you're in EH&S and safety manager, if you are in risk or insurance or loss control, if you're an occupational health provider like a PT, OT, or RN, or maybe you're also an ergonomics specialist or a professional ergonomist. And so, all right. This is good. Everybody's getting in their votes. We've got about 80% of you voted so far. I'll leave it up for another 4 or 5 seconds here. Okay, and we'll stop the polling here. We've got most of you in here. And I will share the results. So you can see that some of you are unemployed or furloughed. I'm sorry about that. That really sucks, but this is a great opportunity for you, and I'm glad you're here. 47% of you are part-time or full-time. That's fantastic that you're still gainfully employed. And a majority of you are rehab professionals or ergonomics specialists. A couple of you are professional ergonomics level and miscellaneous. So thanks so much for giving me a profile of of what your role is and your current status. Okay. All right, let's get back to our presentation now. As we go through, go ahead and write questions in the chat. I will try to monitor that, and if I don't address it by the end, write it again, and I'll try to answer your questions. Okay. So the way we work is changing rapidly. Humans are relying more and more on technology, and especially in the age of COVID-19. I mean, think about how many devices you have or use every day, like your phone, your iPad, your laptop, multiple computers and monitors, the television. I mean, it's pretty crazy. I walk around my house. There's literally a laptop in every room. There's a big screen TV. My phone is always within 20 feet of me for the most part. So really, technology and the internet aren't a luxury. They're a necessity. Now, this is modified from Barack Obama. He said that the internet isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. But I've added technology. And in today's world, technology is a necessity as well as the internet. It brings this program to you, which is fantastic. And in so many other ways, it's influenced our lives. Now, these are stats from last year from the Washington Post and Forbes. Excuse me. And this says pre-pandemic statistics that children between the ages of 8 to 12 years old were using the internet and technology 4 hours and 45 minutes a day on the average, and that teenagers were using it 7 hours and 22 minutes, not including school time. And then adults were on internet and technology at least 12 hours or more a day. Now, in the last 3 months, because of our stay at home and the need to work from home and communicate more effectively, I think that this probably has increased another 20 to 40 or 50%, and even in some cases, 100%, especially with the need to do online learning for school-age children. So it's really increased drastically. The World Health Organization recommends children under 5 spend no more than 1 hour at screens. And this is from just a recent study in 2019. So those of you with kids under the age of 5, type in, let me know if your kids are using or having more than 1 hour of screen time. I think that's really an interesting discussion to have, but separate from this. So we live in a work anywhere, work everywhere world. It's really hard to separate ourselves from technology. And I'm sure we're all feeling that even more so in the last 2 months. Our exposures are very clear from these trends. At minimum, many of us are experiencing at least 12 hours of sitting, which means 12 hours of screen time, which means 12 hours of probably some kind of keyboard and mouse use, and of course, 12 hours of ergonomic risk factors. So this is pretty significant. The primary and secondary risk factors. Are you familiar with them? If not, write in the chat that you're not familiar with what ergonomic risk factors are. There are primary risk factors in the chat. There are primary risk factors that we're all exposed to, as well as secondary. Okay, can you go ahead and type in the chat? All right. Okay. So Jamie, you're not familiar with the risk factors. So the primary ergonomic risk factors that people are exposed to are forceful exertion, repetitive motion, awkward posture, contact stress, vibration, cold and heat exposure. Those are the primary ones. They are physical exposures, and they affect the neuromusculoskeletal system. We call them biomechanical stressors. The secondary risk factors are more psychosocial, how work makes you feel, interactions with your supervisor, and whether work is monotonous or tedious or high stress. Those things are secondary risk factors or psychosocial. And then there's organizational factors, okay? So, and those are a little more around how the organization affects the human. So we'll talk a little bit about that in a few minutes, okay? Now, all of this has an impact on our brains, our eyes, and our bodies. It's not just the obvious challenges. The science is clear regarding prolonged sitting, the physical impacts of using these devices, the musculoskeletal discomfort that many people experience from prolonged sitting and using devices with their hands. It's affected our metabolic health. It's contributed to a significant rise in obesity, cholesterol, changes in our cholesterol, high blood pressure, blood sugar changes leading to pre-diabetes for many people, or diabetes, exposure to increased fatty liver, and many other physiologic changes from prolonged sitting. And this is all well documented in the literature. And so you've seen in the last 4 or 5 years, and even maybe going back a little further, the trends to, sit and stand routinely. So these are some of the obvious challenges in as far as the physical ergonomics exposures. But there's also the psychosocial stressors like mental fatigue and isolation, limited communication with supervisors and peers, work demands and productivity, and then exposures on the organizational side like economic and job security, impact on organizational health, and sustainability. When you think about it right now, the last 2 months, the organizational structure has lost its normal boundaries and parameters, and it's quite disconcerting. Things are changing so rapidly, it's very hard to keep up with. So there are many other challenges too that can be further broken down by the complexities of remote work that remote work has caused. And I'm crediting Michelle Robertson of the Human Factors Ergonomics Society and Office Ergonomics Research Organization. She provided this list of other challenges that are caused by remote work, and that is the feeling of isolation from our peers and our just our organizations, having a lot of either high degree of job autonomy or not enough, lack of mentorship and support, like through supervisors, work-life balance, because we are working from home, that home flows into, work flows into home, that you may be working in your kitchen and then you have your kids coming in to eat lunch, or your husband or your spouse or partner. Extended work hours of day into night, which I've been doing this for many years anyway, but many of you may not, be used to that you would come to work at 8:30, 8 a.m., 7 a.m., whatever, and you'd work till 4 or 5 p.m. You'd go home and you had your home life. But now, it's not quite the same right now. So you may be experiencing more workload, altered work environment, just not being used to being home, or maybe some of you are considered essential and you're still working at your workplace, but there's nobody there. That it's feels very disconnected because there aren't many people around. Of course, the work health challenges of working remotely and setting up your work area correctly, and then the security of the internet and making sure that when we're online, that we're not going to be challenged by hackers and predators out there. So there are many other challenges here. Now, in a recent presentation I attended by Nixon Peabody, a national law firm, they said that COVID-19 may be presumptive for workers' compensation claims. Essential workers and essential businesses like doctors and nurses and firefighters, grocery store workers, mail carriers, etc., are at a higher risk of experiencing exposure to COVID-19, and so they therefore may experience, may file workers' comp claims. So I didn't want to have this discussion with you about how to succeed as a certified office ergonomics professional, specialist, without talking about workers' compensation. So more workers' comp payouts are expected due to lost wages, higher, medical costs and other costs, and I hate to say it, even burial costs. So employers have not been hit yet by the wave of workers' comp claims that might be filed as a result of employees experiencing exposure to COVID-19. And California is projecting an $11 billion increase, at least an $11 billion exposure, resulting in higher work comp premiums for employers. So this is pretty significant. And this is from Marsh, another risk insurance firm. And generally, employers face the same potential exposure to work-related injuries, regardless of whether employees are working on company premises or at home. So employers can face additional challenges when employees are telecommuting, like we all are, including a lack of oversight of work environments, potentially improper use of equipment, and in-home distractions. So this is all compounded by the current pandemic, which has created growing anxiety and mental stress and forced many employees to share makeshift home workspaces with their spouses or children and even their pets. So, work from home doesn't mean that an employer is excused from their safety responsibilities for employees, that employees can file workers' comp claims when working from home. So employers still need to manage employees performing those duties at home, and recognize that there is some growing anxiety and fear now around returning to work, which in California, we're restricted for another 4 or 5 weeks. On the other hand, in economic downturns, workers may forego filing claims for relatively minor injuries to maintain active employment, leading to temporary downward pressure on claim frequency. So this is from the National Council on Compensation Insurance. This means many people are working with discomfort likely to worsen in the coming weeks and months. Now, there is a brewing worker safety crisis coming, and it is going to be explosive. How companies respond to return to work is critical. And you may be hearing some of this in the news right now about the meatpacking plants and poultry plants and the high risk of exposure to COVID-19 and even deaths in the workplace. This is all workers' compensation, compensable. And so when we think about what's coming in the next month, all employers will need to think about their reopening plans. So if you're in safety, environmental health and safety, industrial hygiene, it's very likely you are or will be working on procedures and garnering resources for how to protect employees who are returning to work. So environmental management, hygiene procedures, enforcement of new safety and health protocols. For facility managers, you'll be reconfiguring work areas, considering how to manage gathering areas for food and for chatting areas, how to manage contractors and visitors, like your ergonomic evaluators. So it's going to impact all of us, and it's going to change how we work drastically. But it also may mean opportunity for people with degrees in these areas and occupations to support employers with these services. So the days of the open office, maybe they're over, right? Are we better off in cubicles? How many of you have worked for an employer where you have open office environments? Go ahead and type in whether you have open offices and an environment that you plan to return to. So here are just a few of the return to work considerations. Gail, you have cubicles, and Mary said no, thank you. Yeah, Jaime or Jamie, excuse me if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. Open space, Lisa, yeah, open offices mostly. Can you imagine having plexiglass perimeters around our open office environments? Yeah, Cameron, most clients do have open office plans. So how are we going to reconfigure the office to protect staff and assure a safe workplace? Will we need to screen workers for body temperature every few hours? Employers are going to need to probably be doing hazard analysis more routinely. They're going to need to develop communicable illness programs. They're going to have to think about the OSHA hierarchy of controls, from how to engineer safety of return to work employees, what kind of administrative actions can be taken, like a rotation of workforce. So some people come on Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays for a half day. Others come for Tuesday, Thursday, and half day Fridays. And or people will be separated by a desk in between while others work at home. Then the fact of when people come into the office, there's some discussion about how employers will screen body temperature, either with thermal scanning, or there'll be someone at the door with one of those hand scanners for testing your body temperature. But are they going to do that, like, after lunch as well? Because the thing about this disease is that you don't necessarily show signs and symptoms of it, right? And that so it's very complex. And to add to that, training employee on preparedness, how to return to work and what to expect, right? So this is all quite mind-blowing. And if you're an employer, I'm sure this is something that you are paying close attention to, or your employers that you work for should be paying close attention to and preparing. So when it comes to return to work, employees may want to continue to work from home. So work at home may have set a precedent. This is directly from the presentation I listened to yesterday from Nixon Peabody, the national law firm. Employees may have fear and anxiety and ask for reasonable accommodations to not return to work. So anxiety is covered as a disability under the ADA and can be exacerbated by COVID. It will be the responsibility of the employer to assure safe return to work. So regardless, based on these trends, working at home is now under the safety responsibility of the employer. It always was, but now it's clearly a responsibility. So one thing is for sure, employers will need ergonomic specialists. They will need help. So it's up to us to be prepared to help them at all levels, organizational, department, and individual. So my question to you is, what are you doing for preparedness? One thing you're doing is coming to this virtual seminar. So good for you. I appreciate that. So employers will need help with systems of safety and ergonomics to deal with all these changes in how we work. So what I'm showing you here is a macro ergonomics model. Employers need help to understand the socio-technical impacts on humans. How will people perform their tasks with masks and gloves? What changes do we need to make to the environment? What types of policies and procedures will the organization need to put into place? And how will tools and technology help us? How will we need to change them? What is the role? All impacting human-centered design and performance. So ergonomists and ergonomic specialists are in the best position to help. The value of ergonomics is that we help others work more efficiently. We help to reduce discomfort and fear around performing work duties and coming back to work. We help employers to avoid injuries by not only preventing them, but avoiding workers' comp claims to overall reduce risk for employers. We help to improve performance and productivity, and we understand technology and tools very effectively. So now is the time to rise up and help employers with remote evaluations for employees. How many of you are performing remote ergonomic evaluations right now? I want you to write in the chat if you are performing remote evaluations or if you aren't. I'll give you a few minutes to go ahead and do this. Okay, Lisa, you are. Seraphine, you are. Jaime. Gail, you're not. Jill, you're not. Brian, no. Selena, no. Cindy, yes. Smita, some. Mika, no, not yet. Okay, so it's kind of like half and half. Some are doing it and some are not. Cameron, you're doing virtuals, good. And Stefan, you've been doing some prior to COVID, so not so much now. So what I'm showing you here, thank you for your replies. This is my model to perform a remote evaluation. It's a 5-step process based on participatory ergonomics, guided practice, and independent performance to encourage self-correction. So I put a lot on the employee. I expect them to prepare themselves for their evaluation in advance. Then I use a video platform that is secure and private, where I provide instructions, advice, and encouragement. So if you're interested to know about how to do this, let me know. You just let me know that you weren't doing them. If you are interested to do them, go ahead and type in the chat if you want to learn more. So I start with, I have a 5-step process, and the employee completes this is for the preventive evaluation. I also do them for workers' compensation. And so there is a request form on the preventive side that an employee will complete, or someone, maybe a private citizen, customer. And then I do obtain permission to use photos and video. I have a take our work at home or office survey. And then I have some instructions for them to prepare for their remote evaluation. And then we do the online survey, the online evaluation live together. And then I ask for a satisfaction survey afterwards to make sure we've achieved their goals. So that's just in a nutshell my procedure, but it'd be interesting to see what others are doing, and maybe we'll work on that for a future virtual seminar. Okay, thank you so much for typing in that you might be interested to learn more. Okay. Now, you're in the right place. If you have existing skills as an ergonomic specialist, or you want to develop them further, or you want to just develop them, you're passionate about helping others, you're techno-savvy, or you're willing to be more techno-savvy, you believe ergonomics is valuable, and you would like the support of a coach and a mentor. So if that's you, you're in the right place. Now let me just describe what a coach is. A coach partners with clients in a thought-provoking and creative process that inspires them to maximize their personal and professional potential. Whereas a mentor is an experienced and trusted advisor. Now, I have 3 decades of experience training office ergonomics specialists through coaching and mentorship. So I want to tell you a little bit about myself and how I fit into all this pandemic stuff. Of course, that's a picture of me for those of you who don't know who I am or have never heard about me. Many of you do though, and I'm grateful for your attendance today. I've had the privilege and honor of over the last 3 decades to train many office ergonomics specialists in a live format. Over the last few years, that changed, and I'll explain further. I've learned to be like water. As a martial artist, I have a 2nd-degree brown belt in jiu-jitsu and a blue belt in karate. I've studied for over 8 years, both jiu-jitsu and karate, and I admire Bruce Lee. Maybe you've heard this expression before. He says, "Be like water, making its way through cracks. Do not be assertive, but adjust to the object, and you shall find a way around or through it." So every crisis opens up some opportunity. You just need to be prepared. First, I think what is really important right now is the ability to pivot your vision and think differently about your situation. I have a long track record of pivoting during difficult times. In 1993, when California had its workers' comp crisis, where prices were through the roof for employers, and there were many claims in material handling and cumulative trauma, the government of California, the governor of California, he reformed the workers' comp laws, and in the process created an agenda for Cal OSHA to create the first state ergonomic standard. And at the time, that was in 1993, I pivoted to begin that journey. The reforms came through in 1997, but I was one of the first PTs to go into ergonomics when I started my consulting business back in 1993. In 2001, during 9/11, I pivoted from growing my business to about 7 or 8 people. I had to shrink it to focus on only my skills and expertise. It was a very difficult time, resulted in a lot of financial hardship, and I had been ramping up to my business to comply with the Fed OSHA regulation in 2000. Maybe some of you remember that. It was quickly repealed after 2001. Actually, the first 3 months of 2001, it was repealed. And I had been preparing with a 4,000 square foot office, a training facility. I had a showroom of ergonomic products, and I had a big plan to launch my national program of ergonomic analysis and training to rehab providers all around the country. So I had to pivot and reduce that plan, and I had wanted to do this, but I had to refocus. In 2007, when the market crashed and the economy tanked, I downsized again and went to work for the County of Monterey. And then in 2014, I had to pivot again to restart my consulting business. And now in 2020, I'm pivoting again, and I'll share that with you in a few minutes. So let's see how I've done this over these periods of the last 3 decades. And maybe some of you have had similar experiences. If you have found over the last 2 to 3 decades that you've had to pivot and become something other than what you started as, type in the chat that you've had to pivot. So from 1993 to 2000, I developed my ergonomics process to help employers reduce the risk of cumulative trauma and musculoskeletal disorders. I trained multiple in-house ergo teams and specialists to use my system of ergonomic evaluation. I traveled the world presenting my results at national and international ergonomic conferences. So what I'm showing you here is one of my first white papers, Successful Outcomes of Developing an Ergonomics Process Using an Ergonomics Task Force. This was foundational to where I am today, and it is critical to the work that I'm presenting to you today. Cameron, so much pivoting many times. Yeah, it's just, you know, part of human nature, I guess, and the way the world is. So in 1999, I published Your Guide to Developing an Ergonomics Process by Taylor and Francis, which was a culmination of my experiences over that first decade between 1993 and 2000, or 1999. The book is sold on Amazon, and it's actually like $900 something, crazy. It's certainly not a bestseller, but it's still out there. And during that time, my work was peer reviewed by Oxford Research Institute. I engaged with them to review my book and my ergonomics process because I wanted a third-party validation. And I earned their 5-star seal of excellence as a valid ergonomics process system. So within this guide contains the Worksite International Ergonomics Evaluation System, which we'll discuss later. And Oxford Research Institute certified me as an ergonomics program educational specialist at the time, around when I achieved this pinnacle. So I no longer pay for this, but it is part of my history. In 2007, I went to work as the ergonomics manager at the County of Monterey, and I stayed for about 6.5 years. And during that time, I implemented the Worksite International Ergonomics Process System I'd crafted in the earlier part of my career. And I was able to measure its success over a 5-year period. Now, this was, eye-opening for me to validate my ergonomics process with data. And I wrote this position paper, a prospective study of a macro ergonomics process over 5 years demonstrates significant prevention of workers' compensation claims, resulting in projected savings. So this, our ergonomics process that we implemented, and you can see here in the flow chart, helped save the county over 5 years, $15 million, and resulted in a return on investment of $10 for every dollar invested through the ergonomics process and practice methods in the Worksite International Ergonomics Process System. If any of you are interested in reviewing these white papers, they are in my resources section on my website under copyrighted materials. So I wound up leaving the county and in 2014. And without a job, I went back to physical therapy. I just wasn't happy there. I took my data, published my paper, spoke nationally and internationally on it at the first international symposium of total worker health at NIOSH and the Nordic Ergonomic Society in 2014, and really just had to try to figure out what was I going to do next. So without a job, I went back to physical therapy, where I took a few years to figure out how to rebuild Worksite International. And like Thomas Edison said, good fortune is what happens when opportunity meets planning. So that's what I've been doing. I've been planning for something, and now I know what it is. So I want to show you what that is now. So after I left the county in 2014, I had to find a way to be competitive. I had been out of consulting for over 7 years, no contacts, no business, no idea about social media and how to sell or promote my services again. One thing I had created before I left the county was my chair assessment system prototype. And the chair assessment system is a chair asset management system to inventory chairs to determine whether to keep, repair, or replace them. And if you must replace them, then you have to fit the person for a new chair. And the system has been sold nationally and internationally. The chair assessment system is foundational, is the foundation of my chair assessment masterclass, leading to a chair assessment specialist certification or certificate. And I just received this feedback from professional colleague, Rebecca Crane at Kaiser Permanente. She said, "I'm impressed with the chair assessment system you created for existing chairs and love the way you can identify which models hold up the best and are rated in comfort by employees. Your system is comprehensive, simple to follow, and exceptional overall." So let me know if you're interested to learn more about this unique money-generating product. Around 2017, I started to hear about online learning. I was very curious about it since I had been an ergonomics educator for the last 25 years. There's a vast difference between information online and education online. So information is something you buy, like a book, or then the transaction's over, so nothing further is owed to you or from the author or the person you bought the book from. You may enjoy the book, but how much you take away is really a personal choice. You know, some of us, I know when I read a business book that I take notes and I try to learn from it and try to implement something, a message that that author might have. But like this virtual seminar, it's primarily information with maybe a bit of education for you. So I had several influencers and mentors over the last 3 years to help me get to where I am today. All of these are online gurus. And without them, I wouldn't be where I am today, which is really, you know, starting into the online world of education. And I want to thank Danny Inney and Rebecca Cuevas and Janine Blackwell, David Newman, and Amy Porterfield. Have any of you ever heard of these people? Type in the chat if you have or if you haven't. So education is different, especially online. Whereas education, the education paradigm requires you to invest money, time, and effort needed to complete your studies. There's an implicit understanding and expectation that as long as you do your part and live up to the standards and requirements, you'll come out the other side or other end with knowledge and skills certified by a diploma or a certificate. This is what's important about education. So as a professional instructor teaching live courses, I learned if I was to teach online, I would have to change just about everything related to how I taught live. It wouldn't work online. So many of you have answered my question. Most of you have not. Okay. Okay, that's fine. And it's because maybe this is the first time you're hearing about such an opportunity. So in 2019, after several years of learning about the online education marketplace, I launched the Worksite International Ergonomics Training Academy. This is my vision. I believe that the student is responsible for the time and energy it takes to do the work. And as the educator, I'm responsible to facilitate the goal of learning through explanation, simulation, and coaching. And this is what makes our academy a standout choice in the online marketplace, online ergonomics marketplace, which is not very robust right now. We offer guided practice leading to independent performance combined with coaching and mentoring. So the Ergonomics Training Academy is a result of that vision. It's a culmination of the 3 decades of my experience as a live trainer and all the trainings that my clients have asked for, the ones that are most popular. The Worksite International Ergonomics Training Academy has 2 tracks of learning. An employee track, which I show you here. These is just a sample of some of the courses for employees, individuals, and employers, all focused on office ergonomics, laboratory ergonomics, material handling, back safety, etc. Then there's the professional track, the Train the Ergonomics Evaluator Masterclass certificate course leading to the COESP, which is shown here, and our other professional certification, the Chair Assessment Specialist certificate, which I just mentioned a few minutes ago. So these are professional certifications or certificates so far. I kind of use the terms interchangeable. We're going to talk about that next, but really they are certificates. They are not certifications. So there are many certificates and certifications in the ergonomics marketplace. Have you been confused by the differences? If you have, just type yes in the chat. Okay. Yeah, a lot of people are confused by them. So you can see them all here. So the CEES, Certified Ergonomics Evaluator Specialist. The Certified Office Ergonomics Specialist is what we offer. We also do the Chair Assessment Specialist. The CES2 Certified Ergonomics Assessment Specialist, the Certified Office Ergonomics Evaluator, Certified Associate Ergonomist. These three are together, associated together. And then the Certified Industrial Ergonomist, Certified Professional Ergonomist. This would be the pinnacle. I'll show you that in a second. So where does the COESP fit in? That's what I want to focus on, but I want to show you here the hierarchy. Some of you understand, some of you don't necessarily understand how this all works. So take a few minutes to explain this to you. The hierarchy of certificates and certifications in the ergonomics marketplace. This model is designed to give clarity in our complex marketplace. And it represents my opinion of where these courses lie. Now, I haven't taken all these courses, but based on the available information I have. So I've put, this is a ranking order, like a pyramid. So the least experience is down here, the Certified Office Ergonomics Evaluator, the Certified Ergonomics Assessment Specialist 1, and the Certified Ergonomics Evaluator Specialist. Then I've put our certifications above that because of the way we've structured our courses and the way that I offer coaching and mentorship to assure competency along the pathway to success. As we go a little further, you're spending more time, and then there is the Associate Ergonomics Professional and the Certified Assessment, Certified Associate Ergonomist. These are from the national nonprofit boards. So as we go higher up, these 4 areas are from the nonprofits board certification. And so they have rigorous standards and criteria, and most importantly is the Board of Certified Professional Ergonomists is ISO certified and has national recognition from the International Ergonomics Association. This credential and this one are from Oxford Research Institute. Now, the model is designed to give clarity in the complex marketplace, and so I hope this helps a little bit. Just keep in mind there are 2 types of programs, private business and national nonprofits. So there are certificates and certifications. So starting at the bottom is like a freshman level and progressing up to the pinnacle, which is the CPE, which as I mentioned is ISO certified. So they don't teach courses to avoid any conflicts of interest, whereas Oxford does teach some courses for leading to certification. You can read several of my blogs on my website in my blog section, and the model does not include any university degrees, okay? So does that help clear things up for you guys? Type in yes if you feel like you have more clarity. You can type in more clarity, type the term more clear. That would be great. Thank you so much. Yeah, I've been doing my due diligence as a online course instructor and as a live course instructor in training others in the science of ergonomics. I wanted people to recognize where my trainings fall in the hierarchy of certificates and certifications in the ergonomics marketplace. So I hope this has cleared it up for you. Very good. Okay. And it also gives you, a pathway to success. So if you love ergonomics and you enjoy what it brings to the workplace and how it makes you feel and how you make others feel, then you can continue to pursue through this pathway. Okay, now that you understand the marketplace, let's dive deeper into how to succeed as a certified office ergonomics specialist. Trying to just check my time here. Let me introduce you to Train the Ergonomics Evaluator Masterclass, a certificate course leading to our unique credential, a Certified Office Ergonomics Specialist. And I believe your skills should begin in the office. So if you can master ergonomics in the office, you can apply it to other areas successfully. So I see several questions around certification. Why don't we just hold those to the end? We have about another 20 slides to get through. Okay, so stay on the line with me. Before we get started on this section, did you download your essential guide to becoming an office ergonomics specialist? This guide gives you an excellent perspective on what I believe it takes to be an exceptional COESP, office ergonomics specialist. I hope you'll take a look if you haven't already. It was with your confirmation and your reminder notice. And you can download it here. I'll put it in the chat for you. Let's see. Oh, well, let me copy it. Darn. Okay, did everybody get it? How long is it? Okay, save your questions for the certifications and I'll answer those as best I can towards the end. Gina, you raised your hand. Let's see. Gina, you asked, go ahead and type in the chat, Gina, what's your question? I don't know where my, there you go. Let's see here. Attendees. Okay, we'll save it to the end, please. That sounds good. Okay, and at the end, I'll give you the link to the Office Ergonomics Specialist. I thought I'd be able to copy it, but let's see if I can type it in the chat here. Okay, Worksite international.com/office-ergonomics-specialist-guide. Okay, that'll take you there, you guys. If you haven't downloaded it yet, go ahead and do that. Or do it after. So here's our course framework. We have 8 modules, and I've listed them here on the side. So if you're interested to enroll and train the Ergonomics Evaluator Masterclass, everyone begins at the beginner level. All students participate in the course, the 8 modules. So you start here with the importance of becoming an office ergonomics specialist in your organization, or if you are thinking about starting ergonomics as a consulting or service line for your clinic, this still gives you perspective on what some criteria. And then, oh, where'd my mouse go? There we go. Okay, then we move on to understand risk factors. Let me annotate a little bit here with a spotlight. Understand risk factors and musculoskeletal disorders. This is module 2. Module 3, you're going to learn about anthropometry and critical measures. Module 4, I teach you the Worksite International 5 steps methodology. In module 5, you learn ergo control measures and ergo product solutions. Module 6, you learn how to write up your technical report. Module 7 goes into supervisor employee accountability, and module 8 basically wrap up the course and you complete at least 1 evaluation to earn your certificate of completion. Now, as I mentioned, it's 8 modules. There are 15 assignments that you must do through the course of the 8 modules. There are 2 coaching sessions that are offered halfway through between modules 4 and 5. It's a 30-minute coaching session, and then at the end to wrap up your beginner course and to earn your certificate of completion. These are 30-minute coaching sessions. So as I mentioned, all students start and finish to complete all 8 modules. You progress yourself through. Now the portal opens May 1st, and I'll explain that later, but you do work at your own pace. And so we can explain that further as we go along here. Some assignments have been modified due to COVID-19 restrictions on social distancing, but you can evaluate your family members or partners if you live with them, or even your children. So I've done my best to make it so that if you're going to study at home and you don't have a workplace to practice or apply some of the theory and practice, that you can try to do at home, and modified the assignments to be able to do that. Okay. So let me get through the course, the presentation, and then we'll answer all your questions. Okay, an important part of training includes learning how to write a technical report using the Worksite International system of ergonomics evaluations. Now, many of these other certificates in the marketplace do not give you a system in which to operate. You learn the OSHA checklist. And from my experience in this industry for over 30 years, the biggest failure I see is the ability to write a quality, objective technical report. And I know some of my students are out there, so give me a shout out if you feel like you learned how to write a better technical ergonomic report from this training. Writing a professional ergonomics report is difficult for most people. our system helps you to identify the ergonomic risk factors and correct them through our unique process and methodology taught only in our course. So when you invest in our training, it includes our system. And really, this is what I'm certifying you to do. That you know how to use the Worksite International System of Ergonomic Evaluations. So thanks for the shout out, Ruth. Yay. So it begins with a procedure to perform, how to perform a preventive office ergonomic evaluation using the evaluation system. And you'll learn that in Module 4. And then ergonomic evaluation request form. This is a gatekeeper form for employees to make the request for the evaluation. And then your template itself. Then you have some samples that you can follow. Then there's a quick ergonomic recommendations if you're in a hurry to get the results out to management or supervisors. It's only your list of recommendations. And then I have included a quick fix guide for common office ergonomic problems. Now, in that framework I showed you just on the last slide, there's so much more to the course than just the lecture. There are resources and the assignments, and there's also quizzes and a final exam. Okay. Now, when you finish the beginner course, you earn your certificate of completion. And some of you may be happy with that, and then you're done. You can perform evaluations in your workplace using our system, but you can't put any credentials after your name per se. Okay. Now, as you move along our pathway to your certificate, the next level is advanced. This is where your mentorship begins with me. The goal in the mentorship is to complete 2 evaluations independently using the Worksite International System of Ergonomic Evaluations while I coach and mentor you through the process. After you successfully complete that, you receive your certificate as an Office Ergonomics Specialist. And it's well earned because this is a challenging course. It does take time. The course is approximately 20 hours, 16 to 20 hours of video lesson, and then the homework and assignments. I think that was one of the questions Gina asked, how long is the course? But I'll show you a little bit more around that in a second. You then can use this branding on documentation or on your business card, and you can put COESP after your name, okay, which I would proudly ask you to do. So now I want to share with you what some of my other student graduates have experienced in this course. And actually I think some of them are here listening in. So Stephen, thank you for joining us. He is a certified industrial hygienist as well as certified safety professional, and he is an occupational health, safety, and ergonomics advisor, very well respected in his industry. And I'm very pleased that Stephen was able to take my Train the Ergonomics Evaluator Masterclass. And he said that it was a valuable experience that has helped him improve the quality of the office ergonomic assessments where he works, which is Western Digital. He also feels that the certificate process is very important because it requires one to put into practice what one has learned during the course. And that's what I want to assure you of when you take this course, that you will get the practice that you need as well as the coaching and mentorship. So thank you so much for that, Stephen. A valuable experience. Well, then there's Ruth. And Ruth is a recent graduate. Hi, Ruth. How are you? Thanks for joining today. She says, learn from the best. Thanks, Ruth. She says, the course forced me to think and analyze every minor detail about how I was doing my evaluations. The way I used to perform my ergonomic evaluations was irregular and sloppy, and Alison helped me to drop bad habits and start to cultivate good ones. I gained much more from the course than I ever anticipated. Thank you so much, Ruth. I'm glad that you feel that way. And then there's Erin. She said, if only I had learned sooner. She stated, this course is so interesting. I learned so much about correct office ergonomics. I could have saved so many risks from carpal tunnel if I'd learned sooner. How to properly adjust and teach others is a great skill to have. Now I have many more to show the value of this course that it has had for my students. You literally are transformed from this experience. So I'd like to invite you to join me in guided practice leading to independent performance as you transform to a certified office ergonomics specialist. So as I mentioned, everyone starts at the beginner level, and I'm going to go through the course options here now. And then when we finish this, we'll open it for questions. It's about 11:28 right now, okay? So this will take us just about 10 minutes maybe. But for those of you interested in the course, this will be very informative for you. So everyone starts, as I said, at the beginner level, and it's about 16 to 20 hours total of the lessons and activities. There's about 15 assignments that are reviewed for you with feedback from me so you can monitor your performance and learn as you go. There's one private 30-minute coaching session halfway through, and there's one at the end of the course. Now, those may also be small group training depending on how many participants we have in the program. You need to pass the online exam with a score of 80%. And then you also need to complete one office ergonomic evaluation by the end of the course. And you build your skills so that, and the assignments help you to build your skills and learn different parts of what it takes to perform an office ergonomic evaluation to completion. So it's really great because the modules stack on each other. So you can't really skip around. Even though this is self-paced, you'll want to go in order from module 1 through to module 8. When you complete that, you'll receive a certificate of completion and 1-year access to the course. Or you can enroll at the advanced level for $14.97, which includes everything in the beginner, plus you add 2 one-to-one 60-minute private video mentoring sessions to help you through your next 2 evaluations. You'll earn your COESP within 90 days of the course completion. This is the goal, to keep you on track so that you don't spend a lot of extra time when you finish the beginner class waiting or delaying your certification process. Upon completion, you receive access to the COESP resource library, which is a full array of evaluation tools, report templates, employee job aids, and additional instructional video for about 1 year. And you have unlimited email and phone support following your completion of your COESP from me. And there is limited spots available, about 10 spots in the advanced program. Okay, and from there you can also then progress and join the elite level, where you receive 4 additional mentoring sessions and a special bonus course on how to perform virtual remote evals, as well as a private coaching session on how to use the COESP resource library. Now, this is exceptional value. It's $19.97, but I have more to show you around that. Okay, so there are also, what's included in this, not only is the 4 additional one-to-one 60-minute private mentoring sessions to support you with additional skill building and ergonomics program design, maybe marketing your program if you are wanting to launch your own consulting business or add it to a service line of your clinic. There's support where and when you need it, so you can really choose how you can use the mentorship based on what you need to, what your goals are and your weaknesses. I've also included a special bonus course on how to perform a virtual remote ergonomic evaluation with video technology. Now, that is something that I'll be developing, but that will be included in the elite level. So those of you that were interested in virtual remote ergonomic evaluations with video technology, this is included in the elite level. You'll earn your COESP within the 90-day time frame after you finish the beginner course. That means that you still do the same 2 evaluations that are asked for in the advanced program, but you have a year of unlimited email and phone support following completion of your COESP, and you have lifetime access to the course. So that's the highest, the best value for all of what we're offering. Now, all participants at all levels receive 4 bonus courses and 2 coaching sessions. So not only is it the Train the Ergonomics Evaluator self-paced course, and then there's also the mentorship portal inside. So if you sign up for the beginner, you wouldn't progress to the mentorship portal. If you signed up for advanced, you would use the mentorship portal. This is where you upload your 2 final evaluations for mentoring. In the coaching library is about 7 additional hours of coaching that has been put together from my prior courses. And these are full of really good case studies, interaction questions that the other students have asked. I've also included my step-by-step video guide to workstation setup and measuring. These are really measuring secrets of a master ergonomist. That would be me. And I show you how to measure so many important things in the workplace. And this is a wonderful adjunct to support your education and progression to becoming a qualified ergonomic specialist. And then there's a free webinar replay of office ergonomics working in comfort for decision makers, so you can help to promote and encourage office ergonomics training in your workplace if that's appropriate for you. And the Goldilocks zone, which is how sitting posture, chair fit, and function impact comfort, health, and productivity. So these are added bonuses to what you are investing in, along with the coaching sessions. Now, advanced and elite levels receive access to our robust resource library of my favorite evaluation tools and resources used over the years. So I won't go into detail, but these are wonderful adjunctive tools if you really plan to dive deep into being an ergonomics specialist. And in the elite level, we will actually coach you through these. There may be additional coaching offered as the year goes by. But you do have access to this. So when you enroll between now and May 15th, you'll save $147 when you apply the code at checkout. So the pricing that I showed you does not include the discount of $147. So keep in mind, space is limited. I typically accept about 10 people in the advanced and elite levels for mentorship. So I don't know what enrollment will be like in the coming 2 weeks. I hope those of you that are staying with me now will strongly consider enrolling. So if you want to enroll, enrollment is open now. The course itself will open tomorrow, but you want to apply this code when you check out, TTEE147 off, okay? So that brings the price down quite a bit for you. Now, good news if you're financially constrained, but you see the value in this program and you really want to get on board to become an office ergonomics specialist. As I said, this is really a great time. I have put together 3 payment plans, 1 for each level to select from. So the discounts, though, do not apply. So there's a 3-month plan for the beginner, a 4-month plan for advanced, and 6 months plan for the elite. And when you go over to the checkout page for the Train the Ergonomics Evaluator self-paced course, you'll see those broken down. They're not necessarily in order, so before you select, make sure you select the correct level that you're enrolling in, okay? So the portal opens now. You can sign up now. The training itself, and I think there's a few of you online that signed up already, the training will open tomorrow, May 1st. You'll have access to the learning portal. So you'll go back to the link and you'll go to your dashboard and you'll be able to open the course. And so you'll go through the orientation, and the course has I've limited it, we call it dripping the course out. So you have 4 weeks to complete modules 1 through 4. And then on June 1st, modules 5 through 8 open up. So I don't want you to progress too fast unless you have a tight time frame, because it's really important you absorb everything that's in the course. And we'll see how it goes, see how you pace through it. I'm happy to open it sooner if you get through it quicker and you want to move forward. So I'm going to type the URL in the chat here. It's a little bit long, so just give me a second. We're almost through, and then we'll open for questions, okay? Thank you so much for sticking with me. Appreciate your interest. So it's a Worksite-International. It's a long URL, ergonomics training academy Hang in there. Go ahead and type any questions in the chat if you have them for me. These URLs are very long. Ergonomics, Evaluator, self-paced. If I change it, I have to change it in many different locations. So, okay, there we go. So if you want to head over to learn more and enroll, you can enroll right there. You can also start on our website training page. Just look for Train the Ergonomics Evaluator tab under training. Complete the form at the bottom and it will take you to the registration page with more information. So I do recommend you start on the website at worksiteinternational.com and then you read through the course content, which some of it I presented here, or you know what you get, how you achieve the certificate and all that stuff. And then at the bottom, fill out the form, and then that takes you to this link that I just put up here, which is the actual landing or enrollment page. Okay. So course starts tomorrow. Register and save by May 15th while seats last. And give me a call. There's my phone number or my email. Okay. So, well, we've come to the end of the program. And thank you so much. Join me. Be a part of something big, something bigger than both of us. It's a new horizon and time to transform yourself. And I hope you'll join me. It would be my pleasure to be your instructor and to help you achieve your goals. So I'm going to turn off my presentation now, but turn on my video. And let's go through the chat for questions. You can put, let's see if we get, let me do this correctly, okay. Let me turn off my video. Oh, I mean, I want to turn off my thing here. And there you go. Screen has stopped sharing. Okay. And I would like to see you guys. Okay, let's see if I can open everything. Okay. We're still recording. That's good. All right. So I'd like to answer some questions. If you want to raise your hand, I see there's still about 18 or so people here. So let me go back. I saw some questions when I talked about certifications. Okay. Okay. Let me see. Let me open. I wonder if I can open my video for everybody too. I'd like to see you guys. I'm in full screen. So how long does it take? This is from Jill. How long does it take to get each certificate or certification? So I can only speak to the COESP, my course. And it is an 8-week, well, it was designed as an 8-week course. It's 8 modules. And so, but now you can self-pace through that. So it could be less time. It could take you, I'm expecting still 8 weeks, but like I said, I may open the second half of the course sooner if all of you are rushing through, because your time is different right now. You may have more time than at home to learn and study. So let's see. Okay, so that asks the cost. I shared the cost with you. Let's see if there's some more questions here. How exactly does Oxford Certified different from BCE? Well, you have to look at the criteria. I don't know it all by heart, and I'd rather not give you information that's not correct. This is from Cindy. So I would encourage you to go to the ORI or Oxford Research Institute website and compare it to the BCPE. But I did say that the BCPE has ISO recognition and the International Ergonomics Association. So it's much more respected in the industry than the CIE credential. Okay. Do any of these require, this is from Veronica, do any of these require a BA degree? When you say these, the private business certificates do not require degrees. It's helpful, of course, because you'll be a better student probably, but many people come in with different skill levels, different job titles. So no, those are, I don't think so. Mine doesn't require anything like that. Just the desire and motivation to study and learn hard. I mean, and to learn. Okay, I'm looking for any other questions. Let me go down to the bottom. Okay, if you have a question, you can raise your hand. I wish I was, let's see. Let me share the screen with you here. Okay. I would like to see you all. Where's my chat go? I lost my chat. There it is. Show names. Okay. All right, let's see. When people work from home, many people get injured due to working on their beds or on the floor. How do you justify their claims to insurance companies? This is from Stan. Stanley, that is a great question, and it's really about good investigation. So they're not all gonna be qualified claims, you know. Employers will have to vet that. If they allow us to do an ergo eval, we can definitely discourage that. Jamie, if you choose the beginner level and then decide you want to move into the advanced or elite option, yes, that is an option. Very good question. You can start at beginner and then you can advance later during that year. You have to do it in the same year. So you'd pay at the beginner level and then you'd pay the difference basically to advance yourself to advanced and elite level. So that is something that you can do also. Okay. Are there any other questions? Gosh, I'd really like to see you guys, and I'm trying to figure out how to open my video screen. Wouldn't that be nice? Whoops, I don't want that. Let's see. Microphone, speaker, switch. Okay, Deidre, you asked a question. Let's see. Can you type your question in again? Because I can't go back up in the chat. After completing, this is from Eric, after completing your advanced course, what is the national progression to national certification? Well, basically you need to get experience, Eric. Most of them, you have to get experience and then you have to show your body of work. You have to meet the criteria that these other certifying boards request. And you also must meet the educational criteria. So it's not that simple. It does take time. And it takes, you need to pursue that. You need to look into, if you want to go to national board certification at the top, then you should look at both of their websites and look at what they require. Okay. All right. Stanley got a question. Okay. Option. Let's see. Go ahead and write your question in the chat, Stan. Sorry. Let me open I can open your mic. Let me do that. Stanley, where are you? There you are. Allowed to talk. Okay. Stanley, can you say hello? Stan, you there? You can talk. No? Okay. Let me answer Deidre's question. Do you recommend any specific technology tools such as Spark Motion? Deidre, can you be more specific? Technology for what? Video technology, how to record on your screen, how to make your own videos. What are you asking for specifically? And Stan asks, when you do remote assessments, do you ask employees to self-video themselves? No, I don't. I ask them to take photos of their workstation. And if someone is nearby that can take a picture of them in their workstation, then I do that. And I also have instructions for them. But I don't ask them to video themselves. However, when I'm doing the one-on-one evaluation, we are live on video like this, okay? All right. Deidre, you asked for doing remote evals, for doing remote evaluations. So I just use Zoom in secure private chat with password. And that's how I do that. So for doing remote evals, some people like to do it by phone and pictures, but I've found it very effective doing it on Zoom with that 5-step process. Okay. Any questions about the course? Okay, Selena, do you cover ergonomics for working with a laptop at home under less favorable conditions, such as working on the kitchen countertop or even on the bed? Are you specifically asking if it's covered in the Train the Ergonomics Evaluator course? We do talk about the criteria there for, we do talk about laptop use and how to manage it. But if you really want more specifications around that, what I would recommend is looking at my work at home ergonomics training, and that gives you some insight on how to manage at home with ergonomics. Okay. All right. Okay. Yes, you are. You're talking about the Train the Ergonomics Evaluator. We do cover laptop use and so forth. Remember that if there's anything that's not in the course that isn't addressed that you want or have a question with, I'm very accessible through the whole course. I want to watch your progress, and I will review your assignments. There are discussions. There's a place for you to put questions in the discussion of each of the modules, and then I get a notice and I type you back in the discussion area of the pertinent module. In addition, you have the 2 coaching sessions in the beginning and the end. And so I will be able to answer any questions for you during the coaching sessions as well. Okay, so I hope that helps, Selena. And as far as, time difference and stuff like that, because you might be, you're, I think, international, we would just make it convenient for both of us. I do stay up late, so I'm not opposed to doing something at 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. at night. Deidre, you asked, should self-assessments be more detailed or less detailed than a typical self-assessment form for remote evaluations? You don't want to overburden people with a lot of questions. Just ask them questions that you feel help to give you a good perspective of how they're working and what their concerns are. So I'm happy to help review your self-assessments with you if you've developed one. I have 2 different types. One is for working at home, and one is for somebody that has some discomfort and is either working in an office or has a work comp claim. Okay, Jill, do you use different approaches for preventive versus workers' comp versus ADA? Yes, Jill, that's a great question. I do. I have 5 levels of ergonomic evaluations, starting at ergo coaching, which is like a 20-minute session that's usually on site, but it's also, I have a remote coaching session now. I also have the next level is preventive evaluation, or what I call level 1 for someone that's mildly symptomatic. Then I have a level 2, which is for medical only workers' comp evaluations. Level 3 for complex lost time indemnity workers' comp claims. And then that's level 3. And then level 4 is the ADA reasonable accommodation assessment. Okay. Now I don't teach those. I just teach in the Train the Ergonomics Evaluator, just teach the preventive program. So I just teach in the Worksite International Ergonomic System of Evaluation is just the level 1 preventive evaluation. However, that's not to say that I do have some future plans for healthcare providers who are interested in doing workers' comp ergonomic assessments. That is the cornerstone of my business since 1993. And I've been very successful in doing those for many, many years. So I might be teaching that soon. Well, that's kind of on my to-do list. Okay. Any questions about the course and how it works from anybody? So sorry I wasn't able to open the video for you, and so I can see your faces. Okay, I'll have to figure that one out. And technology is all new to me as well. Although I'm getting better at it, but it's not great. Okay. Any other questions about the course? I hope you'll go over to the course portal. And some of you had asked about, I had not heard of those mentors that I mentioned. Those people are all part of the online learning marketplace, and how to really pivot your business from on-site to online. And it's a major trend right now for speakers and professional speakers, professional trainers, consultants, people like me and like you are doing more things online. Okay, let's see, is there any other questions? Okay. Let me stop the share. See there? Okay. Well then, if there aren't any other questions, I hope that you will join me in taking Train the Ergonomics Evaluator. I will be sending some follow-up emails with a link to the recording if you want to watch it again, as well as links to enroll in the course and to encourage you to come on board with me for Train the Ergonomics Evaluator Masterclass self-paced version and help you to achieve your dreams and transform yourself into a certified office ergonomics specialist. So if there's nothing else from the audience, I'll go ahead and sign off, and please feel free to call me at 831-648-8724. Oops, there you go. And or email me at AlisonH@WorksiteInternational.com. Okay. So thank you so much, everybody. Be well, be safe, keep your head on your shoulders. And, it's a new horizon, new day. We're going to have to think differently and work differently. So I'm here for the journey. Come along. Thank you so much, everybody. You have a safe day. Bye-bye.